morning everyone. Welcome to my channel. This is Akanksha and you are on Globetrotting Heels. So today we are doing something very different and very new. I am going to pick 5 places from top 10 places to see in Toronto on Destination Canada's website and going to visit them for you to see if they're worth being on the top 10 list or not, or you can just like move over and see something else. So I have picked out the 5 places very strategically. First is Casa Loma, which is a historic site. Second is a natural space, which is Toronto Islands. Third, an iconic building, CN Tower, obviously. Fourth, a neighborhood, Distillery District. I don't know, I'm fumbling. And lastly, we have picked out a museum, which is Royal Ontario Museum. There's a secret I have for a few people here, how you can see a lot of these places for free. So stick around to the end of the video and tell me how it is. My first stop is Casa Loma, and at first glance I am wow. This is such a beautiful castle right in the middle of Toronto, and it is basically Gothic architecture. So there's a free audio guide that comes with the tickets. The tickets are $40, but I came in for free. If you want to know how, you have to wait for it. But this is stunning. So this castle was built in 1911. So almost 100 years old, and it's just beautiful. Okay, where's my cup of tea and my cookies? I think I'd like to have a sip over here, sitting by this massive castle. It's beautiful. I mean, you can also see the view of Toronto skyline. CN Tower is right there. I found such a pretty section of this place. And you know what? You can have dinner over here because this is a restaurant setup. Come along with me. Let me show you a special and secret part of this place. Basement is decked up with a special event right now, but we are now on the first floor and this looks majestic. Grand bedroom, the master bedroom if you would say. And imagine waking up on this bed in this massive room and walking up to this Juliet balcony to greet everyone. Finally, we are at the top of Casa Loma. So this is Norman Tower. There's another one called Scottish Tower, which is closed. So we are here at Norman Tower, and the view is insane. There you go. That's the city skyline. This is the end of my Casa Loma day tour, half day tour. And if you have a few hours to spare, definitely come here, don't miss it. It's a superb place. The architecture is beautiful and you'll love it. If you are a history buff like me, you will love this place. It's $40 for adult and it's included at a discounted price with City Pass. So for me, a yes and a must visit and totally worth it. And this is Toronto Island, or Toronto Island as the locals say, and this is number 9 on the top 10 places to see in Toronto according to Destination Canada. So Is it worth it? Is it worth staying on number 9 and staying in the list? Let's see. I just arrived here after taking a ferry from Shackleton Ferry Terminal, and it costs $8.5 return to get here. And I am at Ward Island. There are 3 islands: Ward Island, Hannon's Point and Center Island, and you can actually walk all across the 3 islands, so it doesn't matter where you land. And you want to see the best part of this island? Give me 1 sec. So we just found a very pretty walkway right next to Lake Ontario, and it does not look like a lake, it looks like an ocean, but it's massive. It connects to the US. So if you're here, make sure you come down to this walkway and take a stroll, because it's really pretty. And if you are here on a weekday, you'll find no crowds. So that's a plus point. You can rent these tandem bicycles or just the family bicycles. So something like this, which is pretty cool. This as well. So we walked to Center Island, and there's like a point where you can see the skyline behind me, and then that side is Ward Island. Okay, we were strolling around and we found a lighthouse which is apparently haunted. Okay, I'll find out the story and I'll put it in the description box, but this is the lighthouse, which is the subject of many ghost tours on Toronto Island, and we are here during daytime. So I just read the ghost story, and this lighthouse was built in 1802, so it's about 200 years old. And the first keeper of the lighthouse mysteriously disappeared, and then some human skeletons were found near the lighthouse. So this is basically a haunted place. And finally we have reached Hannon's Point. This is the other end of Toronto Island, and this is the Billy Bishop Airport, and there it is if you saw the plane land. That's pretty cool. And here's another view of Toronto skyline. How cool is this? This is a beautiful island for a day trip, and make sure you come on a Friday or a weekday because the crowds are barely visible. So very less people will be here, and you will be able to enjoy this place by yourself. I highly recommend to start from either Hannon's Point or Ward Island if you're keen to walk, and then walk towards Center Island or the other place. It's a really nice way to see all of the 3 islands, but if you just want to come and chill, you could just come to Center Island and then go to one of these beaches or sit in one of these gardens. It's a pretty nice place to have a nice day out. And yes, this is a hit, a pretty good hit on the list of top 10 attractions, and yep, definitely come here. It should be on the list. This list is incomplete without CN Tower, so I'm going there. Heading out to see a friend as well from Australia, and this is my first time going to CN Tower. I've heard mixed reviews, so I'm going to see and check it out myself to figure out if it's worth visiting or not. The tickets are $48 for with taxes, and I'm probably trying to go and catch the sunset. So let's see how it is. So CN Tower is the iconic building that tells you, hey, this is Toronto. And if you're here, you would definitely want to visit it. And so did I. Because it was a Tuesday when I went there, it was pretty empty. So the check-in process and getting to the lift was pretty easy because there was barely anyone, as you can see here. The lift takes you all the way up to the main observation deck, and the ride up looks really nice because you actually can see the surrounding changing, and the height go all the way above the tall buildings of Toronto. And there are two observation decks when you get to the top. The main observation deck where most people go, which is for $48, and there's another smaller observation deck which is called the Skypod, which is an additional $10. But guess what? There was something happening today, which is why some part of the main observation deck was closed, so we got free access to the Skypod. And before I move ahead, let's enjoy the sunset. We got there just at the time for the sunset, and it looked really nice over Lake Ontario. And luckily, I went on a Tuesday, which meant barely any crowds, and I had the view all to myself. And if you're keen, you can also check out the 360 restaurant on the Sky Deck, which is a pretty good deal because you don't have to pay anything for the admission, but you have to have a minimum spend, which is I think about $150, which is pretty good. I think you get to eat and see everything. So yep, check it out. And yep, this is how it looks at night. We were there for an hour or something, but let me tell you, apart from this, there's nothing else to see. So I found the view pretty bland, and I have seen better views in Sydney and Melbourne, as well as in Gold Coast. So apart from the sunset, I was not really happy about it. I was like done in 10 minutes. But okay, we were left with the Skypod as well. So Skypod is another a few levels up from the main observation deck, and I was pretty excited to see this because I had no clue how it looked. We reached there with a few more people, and guess what? It was a big disappointment. I mean, look at this. It's all grilled out. There's barely any view, and it's all obstructed with this red light on top of everything. Maybe it looks a little different during the day, but I wasn't really happy with this spot as well. So CN Tower can be escaped for sure because this is like, no, thank you. You can see better places for a much cheaper price. And that was the end of my trip, and I would not recommend CN Tower at all. Distillery District. So let's see if it's worth being on the top 5 list or not. But I have been here, so let me tell you, I was charmed by its old school architecture, and you'll see. It's nice, it's beautiful, but I was here like very late, so things were closed. Let's see if we can find something to do here today and determine if it's worth it or not. Look at that massive octopus. So this is part of Old Toronto, and the buildings are still old brickwork. They haven't changed anything, and this is getting set up for the Christmas markets. I'll be here for the Christmas market, so I'll show you that vlog as well. It's quite empty today because it's raining, so only I think I am mad to come here during rains. So now you know what I mean when I said that I was charmed by this place. All these fairy lights and all these decorations, all these little shops, they're super cute. And yes, like without really showing you, I am recommending this place to you because this is absolutely beautiful. We just got hot chocolate because it's pretty cold. It's about 4 degrees and it feels like 2, I think. So I think the perfect drink for the night. So as I said before, I really love Distillery District, and it's mainly because I have not seen Europe or I have not seen these places before. And that is why if you have traveled across Europe, if you have seen cobbled streets, old buildings, you will probably not like it. But there's a big but. If there is any event going on there, definitely make sure to stroll down the street and see everything because it looks really nice and charming, especially during the events. There are some specialty coffee roasters, chocolatiers and special shops over there that are very good for souvenirs, and if you have got some time at night, definitely make sure to pay this place a visit. But if you don't, you'll not regret it. There are some places like this at other parts of the world and you are not stopping to travel. You see this building behind me? This is the Royal Ontario Museum. I don't really go to museums, but I really like it, and I wanted to find a place where I could see a lot of history and culture. And I read about Royal Ontario Museum. Looks like a nice place, reads like a nice place, and I hope it turns out to be good, and I'll tell you if it's worth it or not. Artifacts from all over the world, so you can count this as a world history museum. We just saw dinosaurs, a mummy, a Buddha statue, and a lot of different things from different centuries and different parts of the world. So right now we are in the Chinese history section, and there are different countries' history sections over here as well. This rock here is about 4 billion years old and is probably the oldest evidence of life on Earth. This is so interesting. Come closer and look at these corals. We found them in Fitzroy Island on the beach. Not those ones, these small ones. We met this cassowary in Australia, and it's bigger than this actually. In the Egyptian section. Egyptian history has always intrigued me. I might have like this many books about ancient Egypt, and although this is like just a little bit of information, but this is still nice to perk my curiosity. That was the end of my Royal Ontario Museum tour, and I have mixed feelings about this place. So if you have never seen a museum, if you want to learn little bits and pieces about world history, about natural history, you should go here. It's a nice place for kids, for people to just start exploring museums. There's like little pieces of history from all over the world and all life eras. But if you have seen a museum, and I mean you have been to Museum Natural History, you have been to museums of different countries, you could skip it, because I was expecting the artifacts and the history to be Canadian, like native Canadian, but it is from all over the world, and they're like very little pieces of Canadian history in there. So this is something you could keep like on the edge. If you have time, you can visit, but it's like not a must do. And if you are here with kids, this is a nice like couple of hours tour, maybe just to like introduce them to different histories and like different forms of life over the last 4 billion years. And if you're a new resident, you can come here for free with Canoe. So basically, Canoe is an app for newcomers in Canada that lets you travel across the country for free. Yes, you heard me right, for free. But you need to be a permanent resident in the last 5 years or a citizen in your first year. And to get these discounts, you need to register on their app, as well as have your PR card or certificate of citizenship ready. And that's when you can register and go to all these top attractions for free, just like I did.